Hey everybody, Mike Dolly back here with another video installment for our League of Legends series. Today I'm going to be talking about picking champions and what goes into picking champions, maybe what you should become comfortable playing with if you're new to the game, and just some general tips that if you're going to be on a team this year, maybe what kind of champion pool that you should have. So first up, we need to start narrowing down your focus here. I always recommend about 3 or 4 champions per lane. Um, if you're a person that likes to kind of float around, definitely 3 or 4 champions per lane. But I would highly recommend that you pick a lane or pick a role within your team and kind of stick to that and really hone and focus your skills um, at that role. The reason why I suggest pools of 3 or 4 that you feel comfortable playing is because once we start getting into playing head to head, the enemy team gets 5 bans. Your team gets 5 bans as well. But what can happen here is if the enemy team does their scouting and they do their research on you, they can counterpick you or target ban your lanes, right? So if you're really familiar with only 2 champions, they can ban both of those champions away and force you to play a champion that you're not comfortable playing. And then that really doesn't really set you up for success. So a champion pool of 3 or 4 is usually a good size. Um, you maybe even want to consider going up to 5. But if you're new to the game, definitely 3 or 4. Something to consider as well is what's the skill ceiling for the champions that you're playing. So we break it down between low and high skill ceilings, right? Fiora is a very much a high skill ceiling because you need to land skills and abilities in specific ways. She's got combos and she needs to be able to outplay and maneuver around the map. Sometimes it takes a lot of skill to play that champion. While there's other champions like Maokai in the top lane who is pretty simple to play. His skill shots are really easy. He's got a pretty big ultimate that can snare everybody. He's got a really easy slow effect. So he's an easier to play champion, right? And then you need to determine too if you're a skill shot person. I'm personally an AoE person, so I'm a person that likes to do splash damage or hit an area of effect, which is what AoE stands for. When it comes time to land accurate shots that either need to hit to secure the kill or to land a hook to engage the fight, I sometimes struggle with accuracy. And if I'm the one that's supposed to do all the engaging on my team, then I need to be able to hit those on the champion that I'm playing. So sometimes you really got to weigh what your play style is. Do you like to play a little bit farther back? Are you a ranged champion? Are you a frontline tank kind of champion? You'll pick that up as you learn to play the game a little bit more. If you're new to the game and you're playing top lane, these are some pretty simple champions that I recommend playing. Again, Maokai, Sion, Cho'Gath, Mundo, or even Malphite up in the top lane. They're all kind of tanky. They all have some sort of crowd control, whether that's slowing or snaring or something along those lines. And then a lot of the times you're used as the frontline tank, so it's easy to build items because you just build so that way you can take a lot of damage and you can stay on the front line longer and kind of harass some of the people in the front. Early on in the jungle role, some that I would recommend are Olaf, Amumu, Rammus, Zac, and Gragas. Gragas and Zac have a lot of CC. They also are quite a bit of kind of a frontline tank. The more health that you build on, especially Zac, the better. Amumu and Rammus are kind of similar to where they do have a good area of effect ultimates, but they do have some skill shots that need to be landed. So sometimes, especially for Amumu, if you miss a Q, you pretty much have to wait 10 seconds before you can kind of reset to re-engage. Olaf is just really good at clearing camps really quickly, and he can kind of help you get to learn the jungle role a little bit easier. In the mid lane, I would recommend something like Annie, Ziggs, Anivia, Galio, or Aurelion Sol. Um, Personally, I like Galio. He's kind of tanky. He's got the health. He's also got some ranged attacks, but he's also got a global ultimate, which allows him to engage in team fights that are farther away. So he can really help his team and kind of get in there really quick. Anivia is nice just because if her passive is up, if you die, you turn into this little egg, and you can essentially respawn. So you kind of get like an extra life, if you will. But she's got abilities too that can slow down or to create a wall and stuff like that. Just to where if she gets caught in a situation, she's got a couple of escapes, which can be really helpful, especially for new players. As far as ADCs, I learned to play Ashe early on and Sivir. They're pretty easy, but if you get good at them, they're actually really good within team fights. They can be helpful all across the map. Jinx, Caitlyn, and Miss Fortune there are other ones that are really common. Um, ADC is more about positioning yourself within the team fights and where you are in your lane because you can be really easy to kill. You're really squishy. So if all of a sudden you overextend or you don't ward and get vision up, and they can easily 2v1 you, and ADC can't deal enough damage early on or kind of get themselves out of some of those sticky situations. Support is the role that I picked up first playing in League of Legends, and I personally think it's an easier role. It's a vital role, but some that I would recommend playing would be Sona, Soraka, Janna. They're kind of squishy, but you can heal, you can snare, you can do all this other stuff that really helps your team. Because a lot of this game early on is understanding where you're positioned in the lane and what skills and abilities that the enemy team can use on you. Um, and so sometimes staying a little bit farther back and not being the front line engage all the time can be really easy. Alistar and Braum are two really, really popular supports just because they're the front line engage. They're relatively simple to play, but they can make a huge impact once you get good at a champion like Alistar or Braum. You can really turn a game in the favor of your team. So that's a little bit about building your champion pool and kind of some of the champions that I would recommend that you start playing with if you're new to League of Legends, or if you're just looking to narrow down your focus onto one role for your team. Hope you enjoyed it. I got one more video coming up in this series, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.